So I'm just here at the vaccination facility that is in Manchester, and where booster jabs have been given out to many people today. And what I'll be speaking to people on today is whether the Plan B restrictions are really effective in dealing with the current rise in Omicron cases, especially with voting taking place in the House of Parliament tonight, with MPs voting and deciding whether they will support Mr Johnson's decision on Plan B restrictions and see whether they are really, truly effective. So Leslie, if you were in government today as a politician, would you back the Prime Minister in his new proposals for Plan B restrictions?
No, because I don't really think he's got a leg to stand on, because they keep asking us to do things that they aren't prepared to do.
And do you think Plan B restrictions are even tough enough or effective enough to deal with Omicron, or do you think they're useless? Or what was your thoughts on them?
I'm a primary school teacher. We've currently got lots of cases in school. We're still in. The kids are still in. The virus is still around. No, it's going to spread like wildfire. Yeah.
And does a Christmas lockdown perhaps worry you at all for yourself?
I think a Christmas lockdown would be preferable to a January, February, March, April lockdown like we've had in the past, where they prolong it for 3 months. I'd rather them do a short, sharp snap, close it now.
So, Janelle, would you back the Prime Minister tonight in this vote that we're having in Parliament, or would you be against Plan B restrictions?
To be honest, I wouldn't back the Prime Minister from the start anyway. The first lockdown that came in, it should have lasted a lot longer than what they originally planned. They could have done a lot more on border control and things like that to prevent COVID really spreading in UK. Other than that, to be honest, I wouldn't back him. I didn't back him in the second stage, the second lockdown. And on the third one as well, again, it doesn't make sense. A lot of it's just contradicting each other. So, yeah.
And do you think Plan B restrictions that are being proposed are even effective in dealing with Omicron, or do you think they're absolutely absurd?
To be honest, no. I've not seen a lot of evidence, proving that the Omicron variant is a lot worse than the Delta one. I know it's more transmissible, but I don't think I've only heard one case where a person's ended up in hospital. There's not enough evidence, to be honest.
If you were in Parliament tonight as an MP, would you back the Prime Minister in his plan for Plan B restrictions, or would you vote against those plans?
Well, I believe there's two elements to it. There's a personal choice and there's a collective choice from a society perspective. Now, the issue is, what I find is, from a collective, we want to do what's best for everybody to keep everyone safe and well, especially in this time of year with Christmas coming up, etc. And we've been through so much that we wouldn't want anything that's going to hamper people's mental health and emotional health with regards to seeing family and loved ones. However, the problem is that leadership starts from the top, and the issue with Boris is that, and his party, is that they haven't always demonstrated that leadership, for example, only through words. And there's been many cases in recent times over the last year or so where they have not always set an example to follow the words that they have issued to us. So, to answer the question, I probably will vote from a society perspective, yes, for the greater good. However, it does leave a little bit of a bitter taste in my mouth when you have leadership that's not set the right example from the top down.
And do you think Plan B restrictions in themselves are actually effective, or do you think they should be tougher with things like lockdown, or do you think this is enough?
I believe Plan B at this moment in time is enough. I think the country's been through so much with regards to everything that's happened, that we need to find the right balance that enables people to try and stay as safe as possible, but also give people some element of choice in regards to their choices in terms of their life. So, for example, making sure that we are responsible as a society, making sure we're taking the necessary precautions in terms of wearing masks and being, when we're in a communicative space in terms of a more wider element, public transport, etc., then we should have that respect for one another to try and stay as safe as possible. However, in terms of lockdowns and stuff, I think at this point in time we need to find the right balance that enables people to still live their life, but also be responsible. So it's about finding the right balance.
Are you worried for a Christmas lockdown yourself?
I'm away for Christmas, so I would not want to be locked down again. I personally would like to see my family. I'm tending to travel. I've got family in different cities in the UK, so I tend to see them. And I will be seeing them, irrespective of what has been said. But however, I do believe that as a collective, as a society, we should try and be as safe as possible, to take the right precautions, to enjoy your Christmas, enjoy your life, but also just be safe for yourself and others.
Would you back the Prime Minister tonight if you were an MP in Parliament?
I don't know, it's a hard question. I think further restrictions right now somewhat necessary, but we've made a lot of mistakes so far, so I think I would back him, only to go a bit further, to be honest. So it's hard. So indecisive really on that one.
And do you think Plan B in itself, why is it not tough enough if you think that it's not?
I think we're at a state now where we're going to be under a lot of pressure. I work in a hospital myself. We've got 96% of beds, I think, capacity so far right now, whereas I think at the other peak it was about 84. So we're in a position really where it's much worse. We're getting into winter time. We're not even fully in winter time yet. We've got to deal with all the other viruses out there. And also we've got a backlog of cases in terms of all of the routine procedures that are going through. So I think, you know, from a freedom point of view, I think people are annoyed and upset, and that's fair, that's so. But we've got to think about the other people, compassion, you know, things like that. And if we need to take some civil liberties away, I don't know, it's a hard question. So I think for the NHS, that's the reason why.
And are you worried for your own Christmas this year, seeing potentially a lockdown? Would that worry you at all?
I'm not particularly bothered. Christmas is just another day of the year. As long as I can see my family at some point, that's what it's about. As long as they're alive, you know, that's a big one. You know, as long as I'm healthy, I think that's what we've got to worry about, you know. A couple of weeks, maybe months to save more time in the future, see our loved ones. That's what it's about.
Aidan, would you vote with the Prime Minister tonight in Parliament, or would you be against these current new restrictions?
I'm pretty much easygoing, so I'm just pretty much going to do what I'm told, to be honest. I'm not keen. I don't like the back and forth. Like, I just want to know what's happening. And I get that it's changing every now and again. Like, the variants are changing and all that, but I want to know, like, what the plan is. Like, and we don't seem to really have one. We seem to just be winging it at the moment.
And do you think Plan B restrictions with bringing masks in, potentially working from home, do you think they're even effective in dealing with the rising cases at the moment?
Honestly, not really. I feel like we're just sort of doing it for showmanship at the moment. Like, we're just sort of like, it's the government's way of, instead of taking the blame, putting it on everyone else and saying, oh, you're not wearing your mask. I think they are effective, yeah. But I think we're not really doing any different than we were like a month ago at the moment. And not many people are wearing them anyway, so...
And are you worried yourself about a Christmas lockdown? Would it potentially upset you if that was to go ahead?
If it was to go ahead that I can't travel, and because I work in government, if I can't work if I travel, then yes, because I live about 3 hours away because I'm a uni student. So if I can't see my family, it's definitely going to be a Christmas of isolation. Yeah, it'd be quite sad.
If you were in Parliament tonight as an MP, would you vote with the Prime Minister on these new restrictions, or would you vote against him?
Yeah. Well, I am triple jabbed. I've had 2 jabs and my booster. And I really think it's a no-brainer that people should have the jabs. So it's worrying that this new Omicron is out there. So I think it's important to follow the rules and wear masks where necessary.
And what are your thoughts on Plan B restrictions? Do you think Plan B restrictions are even effective in dealing with Omicron? Because despite this, we're still seeing cases rising, but even doubling on a day-to-day basis. Do you think we need more restrictions like a lockdown or no?
Well, I'm really hoping we don't need a lockdown, but I think it's important if people wear masks when they go to supermarkets or busy places, or when they're on public transport. And you know, in my view, a lot of people don't follow those rules. And if we did all follow the rules, I think it would be a lot better for everybody.
And does the Christmas lockdown worry you for yourself and your family?
It does worry me. I'm flying out on Saturday to visit my family who live in Slovakia. And they're in lockdown with a curfew of 5 o'clock. So I hope a lockdown is not necessary. It's worrying about the figures rising, but the science seems to be saying that this Omicron is quite mild. That seems to be the message I'm receiving. So I'm hoping that we've, been vaccinated, that it will be not necessary to have a lockdown.
Would you back Boris Johnson tonight in these current new restrictions coming in? Would you back him or would you be against him?
I'd be against him, man. I just came walking down there, yeah. I seen a Sainsbury's, had a sign, yeah, wear a mask, like, you have to wear a mask, and then thank you in, like, little thin letters, man. I'm not really with that, man. That's pretty wild, bro.
Do you think Plan B restrictions are even effective in dealing with Omicron, or do you think it's absolutely ridiculous and we need better measures or other measures to implement?
That's a leading question, bro. But what I'll tell you is I think it's a bit wild, man. I don't really think it's the best thing to do. Mate, you know what I mean? At the end of the day, this thing's going about, man. Guys are going to catch it, man. You know what I mean? I've had COVID myself, bro. I was all right. I didn't have this new one, bro, because I've been keeping myself safe, do you know what I mean? But I don't know where it is, bro, but I didn't catch it, so I don't think I'm with the new, if there's a new restriction or something like that. Definitely not happy about it if there is.
And would Christmas lockdown perhaps affect you at all?
Yeah, heavily, man. Yeah, I mean, what am I going to make my money at? Do you know what I mean, bro? I'm not going to be able to work. What's cracking with that? You know what I mean? Furlough ain't enough for me, man. I need to be working, bro, mentally. That helps me. You know what I mean? People getting depression heavy, man, in lockdown. That ain't what people want. Hell no.